كلياتنا بنعرف قصة The Wolf of Wall Street. أنا اليوم جايب لكم ضيف قصته ما بتقل إثارة عن The Wolf of Wall Street. الشخص اللي اليوم حنستضيفه شخص مميز للغاية، شخص صارع رغم كل الظروف لأصبح أيقونة في عالم المبيعات، لحتى سمي بالإعلام The Gladiator of Sales. هذا الشخص صار في عنده كتابه الخاص رح يطلقه قريباً، وأسس برنامجه الخاص للتدريب على المبيعات. عنده قصة مثيرة للاهتمام كتير وتفاصيل حشاركها معكم اليوم. أنا صالح طباخ، بقدم لكم حلقة جديدة من برنامج بروتوكس حصرياً على قناة هلا لندن. نتمنى تستمتعوا بحلقة اليوم المميزة للغاية. Well, I'm very honored today to welcome to you a very special guest, Mr. Darius. Welcome to the show today, Mr. Darius. I'm very, very happy that you accepted my invite.
Absolutely honored to be here, and thank you for inviting me, and it's humbling. Thank you.
That's my pleasure. Let's start, before we go in our interesting conversation, I have a list of questions for you. So before we prepare to the interview, let's start by allowing you to introduce yourself to the audience with your own words. Can you please tell us who's Darius? Who are we interviewing today?
Darius Sudi, Iranian born, not particularly smart. Have you ever been on a course whereby everybody's smarter than you, there's somebody who's better looking than you, somebody who's faster than you, somebody stronger than you, and I'm the average guy. I'm the average guy in the room who was never given a joker in the pack, you know? And I would say I'm the world's hardest trier, okay?
Hardest trier.
Hardest trier. Mm-hmm. I'm the guy who just tries all the time, and I've never stopped trying all my life. And whether it's successful, whether it's failed, my journey and my story is quite interesting, because I've always, through my lifespan, I've always put my neck on the line. I've always been an entrepreneur. So I've lost a lot of money, I've gained a lot of money, I've lost relationships, lost health, gained health. So with a few million followers, my story resonates with them. And people think, well, okay, I'm not the only one who has this pain I associate with him. So I call myself a modern day gladiator, because my movement is to train people how to become gladiators, whereby they go into meetings like their life depended on it. They wake up in the morning living in gratitude because today could be the last day. Because I think too many of us take life for granted. So I'm trying to leave a legacy, and that's who I am.
Well said. Definitely being gladiator is definitely a very good description of you are. You're definitely a fighter, and we're going to go through your journey today. And I completely second you on that point. Life is a battle. We have small battles and we have big battles, and we win some, we lose some, and we gain experience when we lose and we miss. But before we go in details, and very, very interesting story about you, let us know more about your childhood, your background, your education. How did you start? What did you study? Just a little more information about who are we talking to today.
Absolutely. I'm not sure, looking back at my life, whether I've been blessed or cursed. Either way, if you're an optimist, you take your curse as a blessing. So at a very young age, I lost my father. And at about 3.5 years old, he died of a heart attack at age 29. He was an entrepreneur, business owner. Mm-hmm. He went on business, never came back, but my family never told me. So for about a year, I used to go outside my house and wait for him to come home.
So they didn't tell you that your father...
They didn't tell me, because they thought, he's too young, 3.5, 4.
Oh.
So every day I used to go and stand outside the house waiting for him. And then
that was back in UK?
Back in Iran.
That was still back in, before you moved to
exactly.
UK. Okay.
So it's good that I'm not crying yet, because normally at this point I cry. So what happened was, a year of his anniversary, my grandfather took me to his grave. And I said, why is everybody crying? Who's this? And they broke the news that that's your dad. You know, and I felt totally cheated, that how could they allow me to go on for so long?
And you weren't prepared for that?
I wasn't prepared. So it was very painful. And that distrust has kind of like, I long to trust people. And that I think scarred me. And then there was a custody battle, because being Iranian, there was a custody battle for me and my sister. My mom still is beautiful, but she was super beautiful then, 23 years old. And my grandfather said, go and marry someone. You got your life ahead of you. She was a widow at 23. And she fought for us. And then my grandfather, my father's father, he was 54, 55, very young. He took over our life. And then 2 years later, he died in front of me. So I realized the age of 6, 7, that life is so short. You know, there's no guarantee that people are going to live. So I started counting. I was very aware of my age, time. So I made sure that I never waste time. So one of the things that I brought into my life, my family's life, my children's life, my employees, my partners, is urgency. When people say, inshallah, tomorrow, I said, inshallah is that God gives you he can take your life away, but everything else is in your power. You can take charge of your power. So aged 11, 12, Iranian revolution started and my mom decided to leave. We came to England. I couldn't speak English. I was bullied at school. I didn't know what bullying was because in Iran, I was one of many. But when I went to England, I was the only dark guy or colored guy or with a Muslim name or wasn't from that local village in England. So I was bullied all the time. But then I couldn't go home and tell my mom because she had enough pain in her life. So consciously, I just took it on and I learned to speak English without an accent.
You became an adult at a very early age to make such decision that you want to take it on your own and handle your own issues by yourself.
Indeed, it shouldn't have been really.
Yeah.
It just that's the way it was. And all my life, since the age of 5, people said to me, eventually it's going to be your responsibility to take care of everyone. So caring is just become, again, second nature. I didn't have a good childhood, but then I learned lots of lessons. Nobody told me about making money. But the funny thing is, because my mom had a tough life, she became very mentally abusive towards me. But I felt it was like, be careful, don't do this, don't do that, overly careful, overprotective. Tomorrow is going to be bad.
She's playing both roles, a father and a mother in a foreign
and also
country.
She had a lot of pain. So what I did was I started resenting her. And I thought, I'm not going to, I don't want this. I want out. So the moment I was 18, by the way, they thought I was stupid, but I realized later on I was dyslexic. And being dyslexic, I didn't want to continue education. So I always wanted to provide. And the only thing I could do without education to provide was going into sales. And those days, people used to say to me, you make a great salesperson. You make a great salesperson. And this is what we discussed earlier before the interview started. You said that, you don't have a problem talking. Now, 2024, if somebody says to someone, you make a great salesperson, it's actually an insult. Because now people have to be great listeners. So at first I thought it was a great opportunity. I'm a great talker and I got into sales. I did very well because I just worked the hardest. At that time, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I don't do anything. And I just worked and I worked and I worked. And I did very well in sales. And that's my...
So your first career was?
Sales.
Tell us a bit more about how you started your career in sales. What did you do? What did you sell at that point?
I sold fax machines. Do you remember fax machines?
We
Not many
do.
people remember fax machines.
do.
I sold fax machines at $10,000 a fax machine. And literally, do you remember Yellow Pages?
Of course.
Right. So we had this Yellow Pages and somebody said, right, no training, no nothing.
That was our LinkedIn at that time.
Exactly. And what happened was, the funny thing was, people paid extra to have their companies start with A's.
All right.
So if your company was A copy system,
so you're listed at
you'd be on top of everybody else. So everybody for loads of A's. And so we're fighting for the alphabet because that's how you were searching. So this guy gives me a Yellow Pages and he says, start calling. And I hadn't been trained how to call. I can't handle rejection very well. And sweat was dripping down my back. And next to the name, he had rude words. Yes, cross, 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 cross. And I was like the 6th person who had to call the guy. Yeah, and I'm picking up the guy. And he was so rude to me and put the phone down. And I couldn't bear it. Really, really couldn't bear it. But I didn't quit. I just kept making the numbers, hated it. But then I thought, you know what? If I can understand why they're rejecting me, how can I be different? Instead of getting 5 no's, I get 3 no's before I get a yes. So I realized that, one, I'm lazy because I'm always looking for the quickest method and the least amount of work. And also, being dyslexic, I want to simplify things. So I just automatically simplified everything.
Well, that's definitely very interesting from a young child who came to a foreign country and he has absolutely no tools for success. In such matter, the pressure you had in your life and the bad, or let's say the trauma that you passed through, it needs someone who has faith and strength to turn this to positivity. We all know that so many people in life, when they face problems, they have two different routes to take. They either continue their failure and they live with it and they accept it, or some people like you, which are not many in this world, who don't accept that and they decide that we have to stand out and we have to shine and we have to do it in a different way. So definitely the story of you turning to sales is interesting, especially sales requires a lot of social skills. For someone who came to a country that you don't know much about it and to start in sales and be able to be successful in that. How long did you spend in that job as a sales?
Sure.
Was that the main source of your income?
You made some really good points. Let's deal with the first one, if you don't mind.
Please.
About 6, 7 years ago, because you can love someone, but then they get under your skin. They can demoralize you. And my mom was one of those people. So I could be having a really good day. She'll make one call, 2 minutes, and it ruins my weekend or ruins my week because I love her most. So I wasn't really getting the love I wanted and acceptance from her. So, and I realized that's all I desire, for my mom to say, I'm proud of you. So about only 6, 7 years ago, I hadn't spoken to her for a while. I was on a Tony Robbins seminar, and I do like group coaching, a team leader for his seminars. And I was listening to him and I realized, because all my life I was told that your dad was an inspirational person, he was fun, he was an entrepreneur. So I always thought I was like him because I can't be like her, right? My DNA must be his positive DNA. And then whilst listening to him, I realized
she was your idol. That
I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's what people told me. I'm sure he had his problems. I'm sure he woke up late. I'm sure he wasn't totally disciplined. But what the picture that people painted
was
me
that
of
your
this-
motivation?
That's what I thought, right? It was 7 years ago in this seminar, and I was listening to Tony, and I realized actually my mom was my motivation because I didn't want to be like her. I was inspired to prove to her that you can be happy, you can be positive. So it was constantly, I will show you. I will show you that happiness and positivity and values and hard work will bring you success in life.
So you're motivated by a challenge.
Absolutely, without knowing. So some people, as you said, succumb to it and they just become that way.
They accept it.
They go, no, this is not me. I have one life, one chance. This is it. I'm going to make it work. So from that course, I phoned her up and said, Mom, after many years, I said, what are you doing? Nothing. I sent her tickets to Dubai. And for the first time, I spent Christmas with her. And since then, every single day I speak with her. It's challenging. It's still challenging because I know it's conversation not going to be very positive, but I'd rather speak to her every day than when that day comes and she goes, I don't have regrets, you know, and that's really, really powerful. And your second question was, how long in sales? First of all, I think you used the word job. Job stands for just over broke, okay?
Interesting. I will take note of that.
Absolutely. So people who are in jobs, their money runs out just before the end of the month. Okay. So as a salesperson, you're the only person, if you work hard, you can earn more money than the CEO. And I always want to earn more money because I always had this sense of responsibility. I like the best neighborhoods, I like the best clothes, best cars, best of everything. And why not? When I see wealth, I don't look at it and I get jealous. I get inspired. It's not like, oh, look at them, they must be doing something wrong. I look at them and go, wow, amazing. What can I do to be like that? Now, I have loads of coaches and not all of them tick all the boxes, right? But I choose to see what I want to see from different people. So very quickly, I became an entrepreneur running my own businesses. I always treated my role as a salesperson like it was my own business. And very quickly, I built trust with the owners of the company because they knew I wasn't going to lie, cheat, steal time. So I was very honorable and hardworking. And they would test you. You know, I've said this several times. They'll phone me on a Friday. I lived in Manchester. Where are you? On a 6 o'clock, thinking I was, you know, in a pub somewhere or something. And I was door knocking in London. And I'll get home at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had kids then, you know, and just that hard work made it all happen. Because what I say in life is that even if you're not very skilled, if you're not very good at what you do, if you work hard enough, you will have success. Maybe not as much as if you were smart and hard, but you will have success in life.
At least you have a chance.
Absolutely.
Well, so many people, they usually don't get success because they're afraid to fail. And that feeling of you being afraid to fail or to miss the target will forbid them from moving forward and being successful. What message do you tell such people that they mostly have the tools, have the talents, they're probably smart, but they're just afraid from failure, and that holds them back?
Well, failure is a false evidence appearing real, right? So have you ever worried about something and it happens and it's never as bad as what you worried about? Yeah. Failure is mainly about what other people will think of you. Who cares? Really, who cares? You know, it's all about, I've decided that I am happy with the person I look at in the mirror. When I have that honest dialogue with myself, I'm actually happy with my values. What I say to the viewers is that write your values down. Know your boundaries. The reason personal relationships, work relationships don't last, because people aren't clear with their boundaries. And constantly everybody steps on the boundaries. Because if you're not clear, how would you know what makes me happy or not? How do you know what inspires me unless I share it with you? So what I say is, you mentioned also earlier that sales is a social skill. Yes and no. One of the challenges great salespeople have is that know when to stop socializing. Because if you social too much, the other person will not want to spend money with you. They don't want to do business with you because, one, you lack clarity, you lack focus, and also they're not going to trust somebody who calls themselves friends and give them money. You don't want to give friends money. So there's when I meet someone, they have to like and trust me, and I'm genuine. At the same time, they know that if they part with money, I'm going to give them value. So social stops at one point. Having that balance is the key.
That brings me to the next question. That's quite interesting. Going back to your career path and your story, how did you make your first million? How did you reach to make your first million? And when, at which age?
Sure, I would have been in my early 30s, 31, 32. What happened was I was always in sales. I met my first wife, and she was in the beauty industry. She had a beauty salon above a post office. And she was doing very well, but again, it was just a small shop above a post office. I looked at some of the products, and she goes, let's go to this seminar or exhibition and look at some products. And I'll go around this exhibition, and there was ladies those days with like a tablecloth and the products on the table. And I'll say, what's your unique selling point? And they'll go, smells good, or nice boxes. And I was thinking, well, it's not enough, you know? You need to have more professionalism to this industry. So I flew to New York. I found a couple of products that I really liked, had unique selling points. I brought them over, and we literally saturated it was skin peels, and we saturated the UK and European market. And then very quickly, I realized that the health industry was moving to outside town. It wasn't like shops in villages and cities anymore. So I invested in a health club outside a town, Manchester, and opened the doors. My wife didn't join. She said, no, it's too much risky, you do it. We had thousands of people come through the door, but we couldn't keep them because I wasn't very good at looking after. I'm not an operator. I'm a creator, I'm a visionary, but I'm not an operator. But then after a year, she realized that it had traction, this business. People are coming through the door, but they're just not staying. So maybe I brainwashed her, maybe I persuaded her, maybe she gave in and then joined forces with me, and then it just kicked off. We had 7 health clubs, 30,000 members, 600 staff, and it just went through the roof. It was absolutely amazing.
Well, always, you know, a lot of people when you become successful and you start getting into different businesses, they always give you advice: don't diversify your business too much, and don't get into business that you don't understand. I can see in your career path, you've done many different things in different industries, from selling fax machines, moving to beauty industries and health business as well. How do you identify opportunities? And do you believe in the fact that you have to understand the industry before getting into that industry? And how do you decide that this is the right opportunity for me, or this is the right industry for me? Like when you turned completely from selling office supplies to a completely different business, but you still did very well. What is this recipe? What was the secret for you first to decide to get into that business, and then to become successful in business that you're completely unaware of? What kind of research you have to do to make sure that you're able to handle that?
Certainly. First comment was people advise, okay? Those people who advise are probably educated people, but not entrepreneurs, okay? Because they have to know everything, the ins and outs of everything. If Elon Musk knew the ins and outs of everything, he wouldn't be the richest man on the planet, okay? If Jeff Bezos needs to know how the boxes are delivered, he'd be doing deliveries to our doorstep today, and he wouldn't be the second richest man on the planet. So what they do is that they know the general, they know the pain in the marketplace, and then they recruit right. You have to scale, you need to recruit right. So they have people who bought into the vision. You won't believe how clear Elon Musk is about who he recruits, because he doesn't put the rockets in space. He recruited right team. He bought into the company of the experts who are rocket experts, you see? But then he's a visionary. He's the one who's marketable, and that's all purposely done.
So you don't have to be involved in every detail. You have just to hire the right people.
Hire the right people, exactly. And you have to be, a lot of people say that just sit back and, no, you have to be engaged in your business, because they can always tell you things that you may believe in, but not be the truth. So you always have to have your fingers on the pulse, any business you do. So you put good reporting structures in place, have the right recruitment, make sure they care, honest, decent. Those fundamentals are really important. At the same time, I've met entrepreneurs who hired people who stole from them, but they don't allow it to defeat them. They don't give up. They just move on. Those people who say, do this, do that, do this, they're the ones who have it's like, I have an investment company whereby we're giving 30 to 40% returns a year to our investors. Whoever they go to for advice, they go, don't do it, it's too good to be true. But those are the people who've never invested anywhere apart from banks. They give you 3% a year.
Yeah.
So really be aware of who gives you advice, okay? And not one person can give you all the advice. They can't be an expert in everything. So that's the first thing. Go to the right people. If somebody is doing a really good business and is super successful and wealthy, get money advice, not necessarily relationship advice. So choose who gives you the advice. And you just need to know enough, but you need to have your fingers on the pulse. You need to ask the right
questions. But you don't have to know everything about the business.
Know anything. One of the most, even let's go from the CEO down to the salesperson. The most common thing I get from a salesperson is that once I know everything about this product, I will go and sell it. And they will never know enough to be successful. You just need to know enough to build relationships with, because you can always go to an engineer, a draftsman, or a doctor who can give you that advice within your organization. So you have to reach out and ask for help.
That's a very interesting way to put it. Well, success is a big word, and we social media especially is today full of podcasts, a lot of videos about successful people that they're sharing their success and they're showing where they are today. But what I personally believe, and I was also inspired a lot by a lot of videos that watch you talking, and I believe that success is a very unique case. Like today, your success story is very personal and very unique, but unnecessarily that someone else can exactly duplicate it and get the exact outcome from it. However, failures are common practice, because what not to do is more common than what to do, because each individual has a very unique case, and they might be in completely different circumstances, have completely different support system, or in different country, different background, different entourage, and they won't be able exactly to do what you've done. But they can learn more of what you should not do. Will you please share with us a story where, I don't want to say you failed, but you missed to achieve your target?
I can give you, how long do we have? We need 4 seasons for that one.
That's interesting. I'd like you to share a story where you could do things better, or if you go back in time, you could probably behave differently or took different decisions.
Certainly. Great question. Again, I'll split it in 2 if you don't mind.
Please go ahead.
First one was success. Now, if somebody looks at me and they go successful, they're only judging me by monetary. Nice car, nice house, nice holidays, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm successful. I think success is if you can put your head on that pillow and sleep deeply at night. That's success. What you wear, what you buy, what you do, of course, it enhances that experience. But there are a lot of people I know who are successful who got so used to being miserable in this journey. Now they're billionaires, they still can't sleep. I know so many people who are successful financially, but they don't have love in their lives. I know so many people who are unhealthy, or they have unhealthy people in their lives. To me, what we're discussing now is monetary success, because nobody really knows how deep inside or spiritually, whether I'm successful or not, because I have my own challenges, right?
Of course.
Because we're all work in progress. The second was failure. I don't personally use the word failure. I use it as lessons, obstacles, challenges. Now, what you find is that the more successful someone is, the bigger the challenges they overcome. So your growth comes through challenges. Your growth comes through pain. Because if you don't have pain, you don't appreciate not having pain. If you don't have pain, you can't appreciate joy. If you don't experience winters, you can't appreciate summer. If you don't experience night, you can't appreciate day. So you have to have that to balance, to humble you. So never think, why me? Yes, you should think, why not me? And what can I learn from it? So my internal dialogue with myself is always like, what can I learn from this? Yes, there's a reason for it. Maybe right now I can't see the reason, yes, but I am sure eventually this soon shall pass. So when things are going great, I go, I'm really happy. At the same time, this soon shall pass, right? So I'm prepared for the downtimes. When I'm miserable and it's all coming to an end and it's painful, I go, this soon shall pass. If I continue doing the right things, good things will come. So life is seasonal. You just have to dance with it.
Do you have an example of
I can give you
if you like, yeah.
I was in a
like to share something, a story that could be
I can give you a few interesting ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the mobile phone industry. What happened was, even now, if you look, that those of these mobile phone companies, you have to go to the shop, the etisalats and the dues, and then you sign a contract and they give you a phone.
Yeah.
Depending on your
Plan.
contract,
Yeah.
they give you a plan, they give you a free phone, and you have to contribute towards it. I felt this didn't make sense at the beginning of the mobile phone industry. And I thought, if I can save money on having stores, but then get people, because people are going in buying at this Blackberries and Nokias and stuff, what if I could advertise it far cheaper in newspapers and magazines? I could save on the rent, the staff, and everything else. And it took off. And at one stage, we were selling 20,000 phones a week.
Interesting.
In England. I used to come in and there was phones in my office everywhere and people were connecting. I was making money all over the place. I had a phone call center, and I'll go to that story as well. It's kind of linked. And then one day, because everybody was talking about, my God, the phone industry is saturated because everybody talks about the industry being saturated. Here's my mistake. I believed it. I was in the lift. And by the way, those days, there was no internet. It was text messaging.
Yeah.
There was no searching and WhatsApp and stuff like this. So I was in the lift going down. And I opened up a Financial Times and he said, the UK market is 98% saturated. I shut my business.
Wow.
No, not thinking for 1 second it will become a fashion item. Didn't think technology will change. So I had something, I could have been a billionaire now. Because I saw that article, I thought, well, I'm onto something that's coming to an end.
So you panicked too quickly.
Yeah, I just thought, better
without
jump.
validation.
Before I get caught, I've got all this stuff to say. Very quickly.
So that headline was the reason of you shutting down the business.
Because it's saturated.
And unnecessarily, it was based on proper research.
My stupid judgment in the lift. And then, but what happened was, at the same time, I had these, if you imagine a call center, you receive inbound calls, you make outbound calls. And in those days, it was Yellow Pages. And this company came to me from America and they pitched me. So I didn't quite jump from that to nothing. I had an idea that there's a next evolution coming. So this company, they build dialers. I've never seen it in my life. So what happened is you get a database on soft format, you put it in a server, and your salespeople are on their headsets. And the computer will dial for you, taking away this, writing notes. I thought, it only makes sense. I can quadruple the productivity of the salespeople.
Yeah, of course.
So these guys had come to see me a few months back. And I phoned them up and I said, hey, I've been thinking about you. You terrible salespeople. The way you pitched me, it was awful. I feel I can do something with this company. It was called AMCAT, and I have no problem saying it all over the world. American Computer and Telephone. And the phone number said, oh my God, we've been here in the UK 6 months and you're the only one who got us, right? You really would you meet with us? So I met with them and I said, we got no money, but we got a really good product based in Oklahoma in America. Would you do something? I said, I'll become your sales director. And they were Catholics. So I said, you know, I was financially okay at the time. I said, what I'll do is I'll become your sales director, but I want 15% of the income I bring in. So can we draw up an agreement? They pulled out the Bible, they put their hand on the Bible. We Catholics, we do everything by the Bible. This is a better contract than anything else in the world. I said, okay, we started. For the first 5 months, I didn't get one client. Then I got one, and it was an ink cartridge company where they provide you ink cartridge for your printers and stuff like this. And they had a call center. I did it as a discount. But after that, we did $12 million in the first year. Maybe be slightly wrong with the numbers. And then
From 0 to 12 million.
Zero for 5 months, and then $20 million or something like that, $12 million. So the lesson from that is nobody wants to be the first when you bring something new. So what I should have done, I should have actually even gave it away and in the first 5 months, I could have made that $12 million. Okay, so that's the first lesson. I worked my backside off to try to bring something new in the marketplace. When you're the first, it's very costly in time, energy, and money. Okay, it's a lot easier to be the second in the market. So that was my first lesson. Now, what happened was they ended up owing me around $1.5 million in commission. They were paying me a nice fee, but this commission was adding up. So one day, and I was just about to go somewhere to do a big deal, I said, I'm just about to go to Newcastle, so come to the office. And on the spot, they fired me. And I built this company, and then not that we built this
was built on confidence and trust.
Mostly. On the Bible at that time, right? And these guys from Oklahoma. So by this time, I saw an opportunity because we were building these call centers for other people, but then nobody knew how to use our software. So we opened up a college. It was my idea. So they would put their people through our college, and we will even charge them a fee for training their staff.
To use your software.
To use our software. Yeah. And this license was bringing, if you imagine, one call center had 2,000 staff. We were banking about $50 per head. So it was pure money coming in. It was cash rich. And I couldn't believe it. Do you know what they said? They said, it costs us less to fire you than to pay you.
Wow.
They actually admitted what they were doing. I literally got hold of
they were honest with you.
Very honest. I got hold of the boardroom table and I flipped it. And I was leaving. They said, we'll even take your company car away. And these are the prejudices that I felt in England. I said, let's call the police. The police came and they arrested me. I said, part of the job is that it's my employment. I get the car. At least I have it for 1 month. They said, no, arrest him. So they handcuffed me. I gave him the key. They took the car and said, right, decuff him and let him go. I put up I was so hurt. I got a taxi home, had to face my wife and kids. And it was embarrassing. On trust, I lost another big opportunity. I called the police complaints department. They came to meet me. The guy apologized, but he wouldn't meet with me. You know, I said, what's the point of apology if he's not going to meet me to apologize? And I just walked away. So we're going to leave to Dubai. And when I came to Dubai, I didn't face those prejudices. I felt I could be treated as an equal human to anybody else. And all those things were just edging away, you know?
Well, I can tell why you've been called the gladiator. Yeah. I've read a lot of articles about you, and you've been named by different titles, by different people, and today by me, that you're the gladiator, and I understand why. You know, that title, you earn it, definitely, because you know how to survive and start all over again. From the stories we heard so far, I know you have so many, and definitely we need more shows with you.
Those two were interesting.
Definitely, but what makes me very interested, how do you survive that? How do you keep your motivation? I mean, such stories, especially coming from the background you came from, the disappointment you lived since you were 3.5 years old, till growing and building something, losing it again and again. But you're still here, and today you're in much better position than you were. How do you keep this faith and trust? And what made you be sure that you're going to make it finally?
You know, nobody's asked me that question before, funnily enough. And something just came to me as you were asking me the question, is that I think the best thing ever happened to me that I had children. Because I always want to be the father that I never had. And I thought, how can I set an example? So I would never wanted my father to be a quitter. Mm-hmm. So how can I be a quitter to my children?
So you wanted to be the role model first for your family.
Children. Yeah. So even when I lost everything and they were at school or they were at home, When I made a meeting, I would leave and think, if my children were in that meeting, would they have been proud of me? And I think they were my guidance. So you need to have something in life that's greater than you. And I think my children, I know actually now my children were it. Because before my children, I used to earn, spend, be all over the place. But when you have some kind of a direction and you're feeding someone and the people other than you are relying on your success, it's a greater cause. That's why I hire single mums, because they have a greater cause. They're driven, because it's not just about them. It's about a third party.
This is a very interesting theory, and I believe I read once that a book called The Founder, how McDonald's was founded. I know that also McDonald's, when they started, they were only giving franchises to families. That it's usually the husband and the wife, and because they know they're going to take the business more seriously. And it's very interesting that you have such approach, and it seems successful. You starting to be a role model to your children and your family, and then growing to be a role model to so many people in this industry. So my next question will be based on you being a role model in the sales industry. If you want to be an engineer, you simply go to engineering school. If you want to be a doctor, you go to medicine school. But if you want to be a salesperson, what do you do? Where do you go? What kind of skills you should have to become a salesperson? Where do you have to learn sales? What do you do to become a salesperson? So definitely this question is especially for you as a role model for so many people who are in this industry. So can you
Thank
please?
you. First of all, I have this, imposter syndrome? I was coming here and at the car park in Mall of Emirates, somebody stopped me by and said, can I have a photo with you? I'm like, who, and I don't know what a role model is. I really don't know. All I know is that people are attracted to positive energy. That's it. If you're a banker, accountant, a lawyer, a printer, whatever it is, you don't necessarily have to be positive. You have a job to do, a task to do, you just do it, and the next day the same things await you. If you're a salesperson, you have to have genuine childlike interest in other people. You got to be able to learn, listen, feel their pain, and enthusiastically help them out. But if you're going to sit with someone and they talk about all their pain and you start crying with them, okay, you're feeling their pain, but they're not going to ever rely on you to take them out of the pain. Mm-hmm. You're never going to look at you. So hunger, drive, enthusiasm, energy, all those are key. Skills is 5%. So when I'm training salespeople, I'm looking at do they have their passion? Do they have the desire? Are they willing to work hard? Yes. Are they prepared to sacrifice things for success? Most people are not prepared to sacrifice the late nights, the social life, late mornings, doing stupid things, going to bars, restaurants that don't serve them nothing, watching TV programs, series that don't enhance their lives. And we call them wanting. They're going to live a life of wanting.
They're just the dreamers.
Dreamers. They want, they die.
They have a goal without a plan.
Or action. Action. I can help them with the plan, but they got to take action. I can't make the call for them. I can't wake them up early in the morning. I can't go to everybody's house, put alarm bells. I can't get them to go to the gym. They have to have self-discipline, self-drive, and hunger. That's the most important thing. So they have to have a school of desire first. The 5% is easy. Now, what happened was 20 odd years ago, before the internet, if I wanted to know something, I had to go to the book library.
Yeah.
And it was buses, trains, cycle rides, an hour together, and then
to find the right book.
And then the book you want, somebody else is reading it.
Yes.
Right? So you have to sit there, give them dirty looks until they put the book down.
Yeah.
And there was often, they wouldn't put the book down, and I had to take the same journey.
Then you have to take notes back with you home, because, yeah.
They didn't. So, and then, or pick up a book you have no interest in. But now you can sit on the toilet, on the bus, and just search, and the information is so easy for you that maybe we become a little bit soft. Because I believe in life, if you don't pay for something, you don't pay attention. If you don't pay for something, you don't appreciate it. And I just want people to know how blessed they are right now. And money's never been so easy to earn than it is today.
So what advice you give the salesperson? Okay, there's some, we're in industry today, especially in Dubai. It's a great market in different industries, especially in real estate. Everybody wants to be in sales because they believe the money is in sales. What advice do you give to a person who just started his career or her career as a salesperson? What are the key things that they should know to become successful?
Great question. So first thing is that really love the word sales. Majority of people hate the word sales because, and if you look at it, have you ever seen a business card that it said sales on it?
No.
Nobody. Everybody has every single title apart from business because sales, because they're ashamed of it. So what I do to my staff is I have sales, the word sales on your card because you're there to serve. Okay, so you've got to have a good relationship with the word sales. Otherwise, you're constantly avoiding it. Okay, that's one. Second thing is, everybody is selling all of the time. I'd rather become a salesperson in the real estate industry. I'll tell you why. Because if I'm working hard, a lot of the people in my office who are not working as hard, they're going to leave or get fired. And I'll just milk all their contacts and I'll just connect with them because there are 80-odd thousand real estate agents. They're going to come and go, but I'm going to be solid. And I'm going to keep approaching those people that they connected and win their wars, win their battles where they quit. Because most people quit too easy. And I will do very well because I'll be the hardest worker in town. So people trying to get into real estate, work hard. It's not saturated. There's massive demand. There's actually too much demand, not enough supply.
So it means there's opportunity for everybody.
Everywhere, all the time. Think about abundance, not scarcity. Absolutely.
So first, congratulations for your book.
Thank you.
I know you're about to launch your books. I think it's coming soon. So will you give us an overview? Is it also about sales, or what? Just a brief about what to expect, which we are very excited to witness soon. What would be your book
Thank
about?
you. I honor you. This book has been in the writing for like 4.5, 5 years because I've had other people help me write the book, but it never either sounded like too much of a victim. It's my story. It's my autobiography. It would sound like I was negative and why did this happen to me? And I became a victim, but I was never a victim. Then another writer wrote it like I was too aggressive. Gladiators are aggressive. I could never strike the balance of ego and empathy, humble and aggressiveness. And suddenly it's come together. And what I've done is I've brought out 10 principles of a modern day gladiator. And the principles could be simply hard work. And because I've always found shortcuts, those shortcuts are in the book. A lot of the times people ask me to speak on stage. And I noticed the people previous to me and after me, they're authors. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to become an author. So I can charge higher fees when I go around the world. I can touch a lot more people's lives. And finally, I've come with these 10 principles of a modern day gladiator that hopefully touches the heart of the reader because it's from the heart, shares my vulnerability and my lessons. So the reader doesn't make the same mistakes. They don't have the health issues and lose $100 million.
In this part of the world, unfortunately, the books became underrated. And this is definitely very encouraging to see that you've moved to write your own book. Do you encourage successful businessmen who have story to write their own books? And how do they start if someone wants to start their own book, right? And they have an interesting story? And when do I know that I have an interesting story? I know we had a chat just behind the scenes today related to books writing. And I want to know, when do you think a person should know that I'm ready to write my books? When do I have a nice story to write? And how do they start if they decide to do so?
One of the key triggers to a successful life is one's knowing of self-worth, okay? So people get paid what they think they're worth. They get loved to how much love they think they're worth. So everything is about self-worth. And unfortunately, most of us, not at childhood, but something happens to us from baby to adult where we lose that confidence. We lose that dream of becoming something amazing. We lose the passion of winning and celebrating, and we become pessimists and warriors, and we don't see the world in a right way. So along the way, people think that I'm not good enough. I don't have much of a story to tell. This is not the right time. Even today, like I said, I have this imposter syndrome, and you've got to be aware of the dialogue you have in your head. So for a perfectionist, there is never a right time. The most incredible, inspiring thing in the world is action. Action. Start. Yes, your story. And people say, I don't have anything interesting to say. Yes, you do. You just don't believe in yourself. You just don't have enough self-worth because your story is inspiring. Don't fear. I don't fear what people think of me, what they say about me. Does it bother me? Yes. Like it has a bit of a yes, but I move on. Because I'm answerable to him above or her above, and that's all that really ultimately matters.
So you encourage businessmen to actually do that. And,
Yes,
and how do we start? How do we start?
I would write bullet points. I would write bullet points. I'll start logging things as I experience them today. And I start talking to people who can get inspired, a team who can actually share these and put them, maybe, like I said, I'm dyslexic, I can't write 2 sentences. But get a right team who can take what you have here, those emotions, and put it on paper or audiobooks, right? But get the message across. And now with social media, internet, a few years ago, the only people I could reach was people in a seminar. Now, with 2 million followers, we're reaching people all over the world. So.
I have to salute you for the many activities that you have during your day, during your life. You're a busy man, and there's one element always in our life that maybe we don't appreciate and value well. This is the only element we don't control, which is time. So I would like to know a busy man like you who has children, has a family, and you travel all over the world. You have the seminars, you have your own book, and I know you have your own training programs as well. What time means for someone like you? How do you manage your time, and what is time? I want to hear from you.
We can't control time.
Yeah.
You're absolutely 100% right. At the same time, we can control how we spend it. Okay. So, for instance, on a Monday morning, if a member of staff comes to me, because I have an agenda, I come prepared to the office. So I wake up a few hours earlier, I write my list, and may go to the gym or just come to the office. But I'll come in prepared. Most people don't. They come to the office and they want to have a half an hour conversation about the weekend. Okay. Now I might come across rude, but I don't have time for that. Okay. You can see me outside work or before work, and I can discuss that. So by controlling the way you respond to people, your surroundings change. So you can't change other people, but you can change yourself. And this came, I was in Davos in Switzerland, and Bill Gates was in the office next door. I didn't meet him, but his secretaries were outside, and there was Daily Telegraph, Financial Times, New York Times. They were all queuing to meet him.
Of course.
And then the secretary will come and say, Financial Times, you have 1 minute. Daily Telegraph, you have 2 minutes. And I was like, wow, he's going to hold 10 interviews in less than 15 minutes, right?
Effective.
So the interviewer is not going to sit there and say, hi, Mr. How's family? Because the 1 minute is gone.
They know that, so they have to make this 1 minute work.
Correct. So by controlling his time, people around him got disciplined. So
and become more effective.
More effective.
Interesting.
So prioritize, but ultimately, do you know what it's all about? Love. Surround yourself with people who love you, your family, because it's all to get more time.
And people, they deserve your time.
Who deserve your time. Don't give it freely. Absolutely. So right now, my time spent differently. I want to spend it more on my health, my family. I'm not working like crazy because thank God through investments, I have enough money coming in that I don't have to work for my time. And most of my money works for me. So I can have more us time and precious time with my family, with loves of my life.
So it can be recharged with the energy that you're famous with, that to give this energy back.
Yes.
To
yeah, because you're not running on spare battery charge. And when you're on a spare battery charge, you have heart attacks. But if you go home and your charge is regained, you can walk on the beach and barefoot and you touch the earth and your sun's shining in your face and you feel the wind in your face, your energy comes back again. So thank God I'm blessed now to be able to do that and hopefully inspire people like yourself, young people, amazing people, not to have the same life as I had. Learn from my experiences at my expense, but that's my legacy.
Do you conduct public training programs that people can enroll to attend?
Yeah. Last year I did about 8. But what happened was, unfortunately, maybe I didn't hire the right people, because if I do it for free, nobody will do anything. So I had to charge something to pay for the tickets, the venue, the licensing, the AV costs.
So you can give the proper experience.
Indeed. So what happened was I got involved into ticket sales. And then I had to spend the weekend training people. So it exhausted me because I couldn't do both roles. So I put that on hold. And I thought, you know what? I'll just go down the route of the internet. I'll help the masses. But then I attended an event a week or so ago and I got inspired. So we're looking at the date of 27th of April to hold a huge event. Maybe
Dubai.
My own event.
Your own event.
We haven't decided on maybe gladiator event or whatever, but I'm going to have speakers from all over the world coming. and it's gonna really rock. It's gonna be the biggest motivational event in Dubai 2024, and we're looking at mid to end of April.
That's
now,
interesting.
here's the thing: haters will be haters, and lots of people message me saying you're always selling something. Actually, until now, I've never sold anything. I have a team looking after this. All we do is contribute, and it's hard for people to realize that you can meet decent people who really want the best for you. And there are really good people out there. Just keep searching for them. Don't give up on people, right? And I like to think me and my team are real amazing people who really want to leave a legacy and bring abundance to everyone.
That's very inspiring. Darius, if today you give an advice to Darius 30 years ago, what will you tell the young Darius who just started his career? Would you give him an advice to do things differently? Would you change something? If you had the chance to change one thing in your life, what would be that thing?
Focus. Focus. If you can, it's like water can burn through steel if it's focused. But if you get a hose pipe, it'll never burn through steel.
Correct.
You know, so it's through repetition and focus. Maybe 2 times through adrenaline or energy, I jump from one thing to another. Or I listen too much noise, because there's so much noise in this world that distracts you.
Absolutely.
Focus is everything.
Absolutely. Well, it's impossible to be able to get enough of you, and we would love to definitely talk to you more. That's such a very interesting and inspiring story of someone through against all odds who managed to reach where you are today. We're very, very happy to have you with us. Unfortunately, we are limited with time, so we would like to have a closure to this this interview today, which will be first of many to come, hopefully, by you giving a message to our audience, to our young audience who are watching you today, who definitely learned a lot today from you. They got inspired. And I would like you to get a closure by offering them an advice or a message that you would like from your heart to their hearts.
Certainly. I think thinking is a process of speaking to yourself. So the way we behave depends on the conversations we're having with ourselves in our heads. Be very aware of the conversations you're having with yourself, to yourself. Try not to be abusive to yourself. Try not to be defeatist. Try not to knock yourself, because what you say is your action. Your actions become your character, and your character becomes your legacy. But it all starts from the conversations you have with yourself. Be aware. Don't punish yourself. Some of it is your conditioning from the past or your upbringing. Bless it, but you have the power to change the conversations you have with yourself. Have conversations that serve you. Don't have conversations that demoralize you.
Darius, that was really great. Thank you very much for being with us today. I'd like to thank you for today.
Thank you, sir.
And wish you all the best with your book. We're looking forward for the launch of your book, and we will definitely be interested to read it and know more about it, and hopefully as well to attend your sales event, which is coming soon.
You have a VIP tickets, and you have it, my signed first.
I'll hold you responsible for that.
Done. We're on tape.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, and hope to see you soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.